Good morning and welcome to the XM.com weekly market update. And with me again is Peter McGuire, the CEO of XM. Morning, Pete.
Good morning, Andrew.
We'll get through these numbers. Nothing much domestically this week, waiting for the next Reserve Bank board meeting in a couple of weeks. But elsewhere in Asia, China, GDP numbers came out yesterday, lower than expected.
Yeah.
Which goes into the story around China at the moment. It's quite a few struggles.
Absolutely, yeah. Second quarter worse than the first quarter, and we're expecting it to be actually an uptick. So that's surprised the market a little bit, and that in turn is going to be interesting what happens with CSI 300 and the Chinese equity markets. It's been languishing since Lunar New Year, and I expect that to continue in the second half.
For sure. Retail sales were down yesterday as well. The Chinese house prices, this is a pretty damning sort of chart. That's going back roughly 2 years now of negative house price growth.
Yep, and it's who's holding the debt. We all understand Chinese banks are under the water, and you've got international banks with 90 million apartments uninhabited and homes. Then that is going to cause, again, great concern as that not only washes through the market, but it comes out the other end, and I think it's going to be some pretty tough times ahead.
Yeah, for sure. Over in the UK, GDP numbers came out a little bit stronger than anticipated.
Well, I think they thought they were going to win the soccer as well. So I think that might have been something to do with it. But yes, it was better than expected, and it was a little bit of a bounce to the upside, a bit of positive news for the Poms. So hopefully that can continue for the rest of this quarter, certainly in that summer period.
Yeah, and the election now behind them as well.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
Yep.
The pound sort of hovering just shy of that 130 mark.
Well, we've been saying that, it's been the trade, jump on, and there's every chance you're going to punch through 130 very shortly. You're nearly there now, as you mentioned. And I think that continuation will uptick. The President Trump attempted assassination on Sunday has probably put a little bit of horsepower under the US dollar. But I think that possibly that move to the downside as far as US dollar over the next couple of days could be another point forward for this.
Yeah, you would think so. Last week, the CPI numbers came out in the US down slightly from the previous month, but the PPI numbers were up slightly as well. So they sort of offset one another. But I think this market is looking for anything positive, particularly the equity markets, which is shown on the performance of the equity markets so far this month. It's
absolutely
another strong month. And what happened on the weekend, they've just pretty much taken that in their stride.
Yes, exactly. I mean, you just can't argue with the numbers. So again, let's see how the rest of this summer period, we've got another month and a half to go, and I'm pretty sure June, July and August are going to be relatively strong consumption across US, and the CPI with lower energy prices can start to even creep down a fraction lower. Chair Powell saying that that's where he wants to be, and we might be in 2 months' time, 60 days, a rate cut.
For sure. Finally, earnings season started in earnest last week. The majority of the banks came out late last week, Citi, JP Morgan, etc. Goldman's were out overnight.
Yeah, strong Goldman.
Yeah, but even last week, JP Morgan, Wells Fargo, we've got Bank of America coming out our time tonight.
Yep.
But yeah, solid numbers again.
Very solid, Andrew. I mean, you just can't argue with it. And you saw where the Dow is, where the S&P, it's been very strongly bid up overnight. So that continuation, I was very surprised. I listened to Dr. John Nigerian and his brother Pete. They were talking about Goldman's and how only in the last couple of hours I saw it on Instagram, and it was really a compelling story for about a minute about the key framework of Goldman's, what they're doing from earnings perspective, what they're doing on their M&A side, their trading, and just profits at boom time. So that's demonstrated in this. And obviously, you're saying Bank of America, they come out tonight. I'm expecting the same positive tone.
You would think so. And with Bank of America being the biggest retail bank in the world,
exactly.
They've really got the finger on the pulse of the American consumer.
Yep.
And you would assume that it's going to be a solid number.
I would think so.
Once again.
So, that's again, that builds into that second quarter, and I'm just interested to see again, come October where we are with this quarter.
And interestingly, it's only been the last week or so, there has been a bit of movement in the Russell Index as well, which is those small to mid caps.
Yeah.
So everyone's been talking about they want this equity rally to broaden out
beyond
the big tech companies. So I know very early days, but there seems to be some sort of green shoots there in those small to mid caps.
Absolutely.
Which, is good for the equity market as a whole.
Oh, and good for the overall economy. You just can't have it like, you've only got a small select group of players that are getting all the cream. It's lovely when it's spread across something as broad as the Russell 2000. And for all the traders out there, please have a look at that. Russell 2000, do your homework, take on board what those points that Andrew mentioned, because it's something worth studying and studying closely.
Yeah, and we'll see a lot of those companies with their earnings in the next sort of 2 to 3 weeks.
Exactly.
So
oh, yeah.
plenty happening, which is great. UK, we've got the CPI numbers out later this week as well. So.
Well, that's where I'm thinking that pound has got some more upside. Yen's come off a little bit, and certainly gold's been something to look at, and silver. Copper's bounced again to the upside, and currencies are a little bit choppy, but plenty of opportunity. US equities, you can't walk away from them at the moment.
No, not at all. All right, we'll keep an eye on all that and catch up again next week.
See you, Andrew.
Right, thanks, Pete. And that's the XM.com weekly market update.